You got it right.
All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you to Rabbi Reese for getting us to the Mishnah. Today is Daf Chakas, Sachas Nazir. I seem to leave at the opportune times. I seem to go out of town during the opportune times, I guess. Yeah. I wish I was that well versed in Shas. I know which ones to avoid or not. All right. All right, Mishnah. Mishnah says, so the animal was shechted. A wife was a Nazira. The animal was shechted. They threw upon the blood on the Mizbeach. Eino yochel lefer. At that point, once the blood is thrown, then says the Tanna Kama, you can't go ahead and he can no longer revoke it. It's good as done. It's too late. She already did it. Now, even before that, step before that, he's done. Even when the animal gets shechted. In other words, he holds, Rabbi Kiva holds, that's even earlier time, right? When the animal is shechted, not when it's shechted and the blood thrown. Rather, once it's shechted, then it's considered to be done. The Nazirus is done, set in stone. Sure, thank you. 8 ounces. Thank you. What are you talking about? Now we're only talking about if she finishes a 30-day or whatever her Nazir's period was of the Tahara. But let's say she went ahead and her karbanos are brought because she became Tmeya, and we know when the one becomes Tmeya or Tameh or Tmeya, the woman, then they have to bring a separate a set of karbanos at that point in time, and then to restart their Nazirus. However, then he can go ahead because he says he can stop it at that point, even if the blood is sprinkled on. But if it's the karbanos of the Tuma, then there's still a whole Nazirus left to go. There's still 30 days to go at minimum. So therefore, the husband can say, hey, I don't want my wife to be someone who's abstaining from wine. Therefore,
obviously you heard about it later.
Right, yeah, right. This is he's only finding about it.
Right.
It's a great marriage.
The first case, she's very down anyway. So
right, yeah. But so we'll soon see. We'll see because we'll soon see that there's shaving the head afterwards that can come out of the karbanos. He said, I don't want to do that.
Does that mean that he heard his Yom Shemo was when she was Tmeya? But she still have to bring the karbanos on the Tuma?
So if he would. If that was the case, then she would have to do it. Once the animal is shechted, we're talking about when he found that after the shechita. So after the shechita,
okay,
right, then he can revoke it there. But if he would revoke it before, then, so then the animals will be, then she would have to bring the karbanos. If the animals were set aside, then we get to the question we had from the previous Mishnah. If the animals were set aside, if it was mefurish, if it wasn't, if it was stuman, right? Then we get to that. Now, Rabbi Meir, I believe, let's see, but Meir, even after, let's say the kabbanas tahira are brought, he says, you know what? She still didn't shave her head. I don't want her going ahead and shaving her head. Therefore, their nazirus is null and void. The kabbanas were offered or brought. Okay, so the Gemara is going to go ahead and deal with that question. So let's see. Zak the Gemara. We'll soon talk about that. So Zak the Gemara Masnisen. Our mission is not like Rabbi Eliezer in the beginning, which says that, in other words, once the sprinkling of the blood is done, then it's too late. You can only make. He holds that the shaving is the ma'akeves, right? That ends the Nazirus. And it's not the other part. So the Nazirus is still going until the shaving. If she just brought the karbanos, then the Nazirus is still going on. The Nazirus is still going on. He can stop the Nazirus, he can revoke it. And since it wasn't, she didn't shave yet, so therefore she would still be usher with wine. And since she's still prohibited from wine, Matzi Mavri, you can go ahead and say, hey, enough of this nonsense. I want you drinking wine with me. So they take out this Vafligi. So we learned Tana did on Savar Arm, Mishnah holds Savar, top of the page on the Kofka. Tana did on Savar, came and Dean Zakala, the out there, Sharia Bachamra. Our Mishnah knows that once the blood is sprinkled, then she's permitted in the wine, and therefore her Nazirus is over. And therefore, she's no longer right a woman who's basically abstaining of depriving herself from wine. Rabbi Kiva Saver and Rabbi Kiva in the Mishnah hold Afilu Ishtachita, right? Now the shchita, if there's shchita behema, once you shecht one of the animals, then you can no longer revoke mishum hefsed kachim. Because loss of kachim, because the animal is now shechted and it's nothing to do with the meat, and therefore this animal was sanctified prior to the shechita. They did the shechita. All of a sudden, the meat is going to go at a loss, and since the meat's at a loss, we don't want hefsed kachim, and therefore we say, you know what? It's too late to go ahead and change, undo her nazirus. Let her continue with the nazirus. So 4 lines with that maskevla Reb Zera.
Is there a difference in terms of which behemoth?
Oh, let's see. Very good. Let's see. Excellent.
What?
Which behemoth? That was is it Bechatas or the Ola the Shlom? There's 3 animals. Right. So maskevla Reb Zera. Right. Let's see. V'amai lizok daman shelo lishman v'yatir basar b'achilo. Understand? Go ahead. You did the shechita. Go ahead and do the zrika. And it could be like something that you threw with blood shelo lishma, and you be matir the buster, the meat, through achila. Bilotanya, did we not learn? Did we keep say atzera shachta shelo lishma? If you have the kvasim of the atzeras and the ones that are brought on shvuas, if they are shachta shelo lishma, let's say it was for the wrong purpose, wrong intentions, they didn't realize it was keep say shvuas. Oh, shachta only feis manam, or achis manam, or it was too early or too late. So what's the halacha there? Adam Yizra, go ahead and throw the blood. And you can go ahead and you're permitted to the blood. You might not be say you're chiyuv, but it's still considered to be kachim. The Kohanim can still partake of it, right? If Shabbos, and if it was Shabbos, then lo Yizra, then you shouldn't go ahead and do it because it's not out there. V'im Zarak hurtza, then nevertheless it is hurtza. It is accepted by the mizbeach in order to go ahead and burn the limbs post Shabbos, Motzei Shabbos. So, but what do you see over here? That okay, so let the case be no worse in those cases. Okay, you shechted it. You weren't supposed to. She's no longer in a zero. Oh, but there's no loss of kachim. Go ahead and offer it. You can still eat the meat. What's the big deal? So Gemara says you're right. If it was we're talking about the ola shlamim hachinam, yeah, that's a wonderful teretz. El hachvais kina can go and shechat chatas bereisha when he went ahead and shechted the chatas first. Kedetnan. As we learn in the Mishnah later on, our Gemara leaves out the important part, right? It says but over there prior it says that if you went ahead and shaved for one of them, then is yaitse. But over there is talking about the order. Over there it says the chatas comes first. So the chatas is really the first animal. So since the chatas is the first animal, so once you shecht it, because once you shechted the chatas, now you can no longer just go ahead and bring it and say it's it's dessert for the mizbeach, because it's not right. It's a chatas, and therefore it can't be brought just as a nadava. And that's the reason why Rabbi Kiva says once you shecht it, it's too late. You got to go ahead and finish the nazirus. You missed your opportunity. Right, the ola is not.
So once you zorik the dam, what happens? Are you allowed?
So if it was just the ola, let's say we're not ordered, did the ola? So then, according to Rabbi Kiva, he can and the nazirus, he may fear it, and
but they're not eating the meat, right? The shlamim.
Right, but it can still be offered. There's no loss of the meat.
They can still mockery.
Right. There's no loss of the meat. Right. Now, I'm not sure if Rabbi Kiva would say lo plug. In other words, all the cases are said because we don't want you to confuse. He seems to say nishchata without saying nishchata chatas. Yeah. The teretz was only about the chatas. So, right, you have to see whether Rabbi Kiva holds, all of them. Fine.
So what about the shlamim?
Same thing. So it'll be like the ola. In other words, there's an answer to it. So maybe Rabbi Kiva is machalik between the two and says if the shlamim was just shechted, maybe he could still revoke it. But the Mishnah didn't seem to say that. But Med Vermurim, the Chatas, he does only the Gemara, right? So we don't know what Rabbi Kiva would say. I'm sure the
says that it's only by the Chatas.
Only by the Chatas. He is machalik, right? So he's not. So fine.
Why are they bringing in specifically to say
because that was the mission over there. No, it was a Ferish Abraisa. No, it was over there. Something. It was just an example of kachim that were brought shlo lishman that can still be eaten by the client. Right. There's no loss of kachim. That's what we're trying to bring out. Fine. So he said, if it was only the Torah, then that's what we're talking about. You know, it's at the end of her Nazirus. She doesn't sit any more days. But if we're talking about the Tumah, where she still has days to go, then you can go ahead and revoke it. If you're a mayor, no, even if it's during the Torah, at the end of that, I do not want my wife to go ahead and shave her head. I'm sure, no, go ahead and shave your head. But pay an achris, right? Go ahead and put on yourself a beautiful $7,000 sheitel. It's beautiful. Right, Mayor suburbs. Says our mayor, drum roll, please. And achris. Since it's another woman's hair, it's disgusting, it's gross. Therefore, he has the ability to say, "Hey, I don't want you shaving your head and wearing a wig. That's not nice to me. I'd rather you." Yeah, I'd rather you have your own hair and not shave your head. And therefore, that's not an answer. And therefore, he can go ahead, according to Mayor, and stop it even if all the karbanos are brought, and all she has to do is shave her head. He can say, nope, your Naziris is done. You're not shaving your head, lady. Fine. So, yes, it would be a kasha against the Hasidim, and those who shave their head, and perhaps even a kasha against those who wear shaitels. Fine. What Mayor says is disgusting. All right. Naya Mishnah says in the Mishnah, Madir, once again, when you get to a Masechta like Nazir, which is really one little parsha, oftentimes you run into the same Mishnayos that were brought earlier. So we also saw this earlier. Ha'ish Madir es beno, the Nazir. All right, this is one of the 4 examples we had. We'll soon see. Well, no, this is an example of what we said where Chatas is the Mesa, right? So Ha'ish Madir es beno. A father can go ahead and he wants to basically teach his son about becoming a Nazir. He can go ahead and accept the Nazirus upon his son. Ha'ish Mader's beno benazir, ve'ena isha Mader's is beno benazir. However, a mother is not allowed to. Only the kayach is given to the father, not to the mother. It's a case that
there is an age difference.
The Chayr we're talking about, right? The Chayr we're talking about chinuch, right? Yeah. So something, right, maybe from 7 or 8 until whatever he's 13.
It's kind of high.
So yeah, so Ketzad. So let's say, well, the Gemara is going to ask about it. But no, not Bito. But actually, we're going to get to that tomorrow. I just happened to go read a little bit ahead. So Ketzad. Gila, so how? So let's say the son, the boy protests. He's 9 years old. He says, "Hey, I want my wine. Right? It's not fair. I want to, I get grape juice every day in school." So Ketzad, so Gila, if he went out and shaved his head in protest, or let's say one of his relatives, his mother took him, or whatever it was, one of his others shaved his head, or he made a verbal protest, and his relatives made a protest. Now, okay, so the Naziris is not accepted. So what happens if the animals were set aside? If they went in to set aside an animal as mefresh, so achatas tamus, then the chatas is left to die. Oila is brought as a voluntary ola offering. And the shlamim is also brought as the shlamim. And however, it's only eaten one day, like that of a nazir, not 2 days. However, does not require the lobes that normally accompany a shlamim of the nazir. And if let's say it was just money set aside, it was just $300, but it wasn't nothing like designated specifically, then you pull it in the Nidava, then that should all that falls to the Nidava fund. And if let's say the money was specified, this money is for Chatas, this is for Shlemin, this is the Olo, then the Mechatas Melech, then that money for the Chatas should be tossed into the Dead Sea, where it goes bad and no one can use it. I love that little landing. A person cannot get hanaf in that money. Roads right in it.
The child,
or one of those
because the child rejected, you can do shlamim. How you can benefit from the shlamim?
What do you mean? Well,
you eat the shlamim.
Well, then it's offered as an adab, as a voluntary, right? But it's not brought to the obligation of the series. So the chatas has to be thrown away. Zero benefit. Like can't get benefit. There is no me'ilah. When it comes to the value of the money for the ola, then Yavil Oila can go ahead and bring a voluntary ola, and there is a me'ilah if one does go ahead and misappropriate those funds. And the money for shlamim, once again, Yavil Shlamim can go ahead and bring a shlamim. However, only eat it to the stringencies of the Naziris, which is 1 day. However, it does not require the accompanying breads. Fine. Zok the Gemara, ish in aval isha lo. It says over there only the father, not the mother. My timer. What's the reason? So Rabbi Yechon Amar halachi benazir. Halach l'Moshe Sinai, special halacha granted that the father is able to go ahead and be makabel naziris for his child. That was Rabbi Yechon. Rabbi Yisrael, Rabbi Chanina, Amar, he says, turn the page. Amar is right in the name of Reish Lakish, so it's basically a machlokes between Reish Lakish and Rabbi Yechon. Kedei lechancha b'mitzvos. He's doing it to be mechanech b'mitzvos, not halacha Moshe Sinai. The father wants to, do chinuch for the son to teach about the zira. So you have to avoid tuma. You can't shave your head, cut your hair, wine or grape products. Ihachi afil ishanami. So if that's the case, why doesn't the mother? Shouldn't the mother also be? Why is there why to differentiate between a father and a mother when it comes to accepting the ziras for the child? It's like saver ish chay l'chanech b'rab. So it says over there, no, not chopped liver, but when it comes to the obligation from the Torah for one to go ahead and be mechanech and to go ahead and train his kid for Torah mitzvahs, the chiyuv is only the chiyuv is only on the father, and the chiyuv is not on the mother.
No, I thought the hekesh, what you associate, if it's penal.
So we'll stop here by that because there's like 7
No, but
almost. So
it's because the only the father can buy a